Shankara was the founder of Advaita, or non-dual Vedanta, arguably the most influential school of Indian philosophy. Though he lived in the 8th century in India, Shankara's vision of ultimate reality is still very much alive and is a foundation of the modern Hindu movement that was brought to the West by teachers like Swami Vivekananda. Every time you pick up a book with a title like Awakening from the Dream, you are reading teachings that were likely influenced by Shankara. His teachings point out different methods for disidentifying with the body and personality, and to realize that the Absolute is a pure, boundless awareness free of forms, which he called Brahman. He saw the physical and subtle universe as a dream, projection, a magic trick, endlessly alluring, ephemeral, and ultimately painful. Only by penetrating through the dream, he might say, can you recognize your true self, which is pure awareness, free of content, free of forms, and identical with the formless Absolute. It was Shankara who wrote, the Absolute is real, the world is unreal, and the individual soul is the Absolute. Shankara and his followers metaphorically described the physical and social universe as a burning ocean of endless suffering, no more real than a cloud castle, yet always ready to delude and trap the unwary. In his view, the cosmic villainess behind the whole mistake was the feminine power known as Maya, mistress of illusion and trickery. Maya, he might say, is an incomprehensible cosmic power that veils the true nature of this world. Maya makes us think that the one is actually many and that the world is separate from our own consciousness. Because Maya is considered feminine, all women were seen as tainted with Maya's illusory power and were therefore dangerous to anyone who sought the truth. Shankara had part of the story right in that awareness is indeed the ground of everything. The problem was that he only saw half the picture. His greatest misperception had to do with the role of the Shakti, or the supreme goddess, or life force, not to mention the body itself. Instead of recognizing that the world itself is made of sacred energy, or Shakti, he saw it as a mirage superimposed on reality. Instead of recognizing the body as a sacred vessel, he saw it as impure. Instead of recognizing the feminine as the creative power of life, he saw her as the enemy of truth. Human women with their alluring bodies, as he said, women burdened with breasts and that hole below the navel, in a famous hymn, trap men with sex, lure them into family life, and then fill their lives with so much activity that they have no space to recognize reality. Shankara and his followers, like the early followers of the Buddha, gave up home and family life to become wandering monks. They created a powerful tradition of world renunciation. Even today, some teachers of this form of non-duality still say that trying to improve your worldly life is like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Since it's all an illusion anyway, why get upset about the destruction of the forests and the ocean or the suffering of homeless children? Though Shankara might not have gone that far, his teachings had a profoundly world-denying flavor. Then he met the goddess. It happened like this. One day, as Shankara wandered through South India, he found himself on the bank of a river in a flood. Shankara was fearless. He had faced down tigers and he had seen through the world illusion. So what was the problem with a flood? He waded into the river and soon found himself up to his chest in rushing water. Then a weird thing happened. His body stopped working. Standing on one leg in the middle of a swift-moving river, with the other leg lifted to find his next foothold, he froze. His strength gone, his will paralyzed, Shankara panicked. For the first time in his life, he knew the terror of being completely powerless and realized that if he didn't get moving, he could drown. Then he heard a cackling laugh. An old forager woman, bent with the weight of her years of labor, stood on the opposite bank. Desperately, Shankara called to her, "Help! Get help!" The crone raised her head and looked fully into his eyes. She laughed again, her laughter foaming over until it filled the sky. Then she dove into the river and in a few swift strokes swam to where he floundered. She seized him around the chest and pulled him to shore. "Shankara," she said, "you preach that women are a trap. You say that this world is an illusion. You won't so much as look at a woman. But can't you see that your strength comes from Shakti? What happens when you lose your Shakti? Without Shakti, you couldn't even move your limbs. So why do you insult Shakti? Why do you insult the goddess? Don't you know that I am everything? Don't you know that you can't live without me?" In that moment, or so the story goes, Shankara realized that he had been denying the obvious. He had been insulting his own life energy, without which he would not even exist. He bowed down to the goddess, for indeed the old woman was the goddess herself, Adi Shakti. Moreover, he became a closet Shakta Tantrika, or a lover of the sacred feminine power within the world. He kept his conversion more or less secret. After all, he was an official world renouncer. But today in South India, many officials of his orders of Indian monks do worship the goddess. The Tantric Vision. Tantra has often been a kind of underground sect in India, precisely because by sanctifying the body and its energies, it subverts the classical yogic teaching that places spirit above and beyond the physical world. But Tantra is secretly practiced even among conventional religious people, partly because Tantric practices are famous for conferring special powers. There is even a saying, "In public, be a worshipper of Vishnu, the deity of conventional religion and morality. In private, be a worshipper of Shiva, the deity of yoga. Then, in secret, worship Shakti, the feminine power behind everything." Tantra has many branches and many faces. Some are quite primitive, while others are among the most sublime enlightenment teachings in the world. But all approaches to Tantra have at least 3 points in common. First, Tantra is uncompromising in its embrace of reality, in all its beauty and horror. A core feature of Tantra is the principle of non-rejection. In Tantra, nothing is considered to be outside of the divine tapestry. Shakti, the immanent aspect of godness, has become everything that exists. Therefore, everything is worthy of being worshipped as a form of goddess or Shakti. This is not to say that Tantra ignores ethics or ethical principles. Core texts like the Kularnava Tantra stress that a strong ethical grounding is crucial for Tantric practice. However, Tantra insists that all bodies, all worlds, all ideas are made of Shakti and are therefore divine in their essence. To experience this as fact, to experience it as true within our own bodies and minds, is said to be the knowledge that liberates us from all suffering. As mentioned earlier, one of the 2 Sanskrit roots of the word Tantra refers to its capacity for liberating you. Tan means to expand, while Tra means to liberate. So Tantra describes itself as an expansion of the knowledge and practice that liberates us from suffering. Another meaning of the word Tantra is weaving, as Tantra sees the world as a tapestry of energies, all of them aspects of the energy of the divine, and therefore all of them sacred. The physical world is as sacred and numinous as the world of spirit. Tantric ethics are based on this recognition. Second, a corollary of the initial insight is the recognition that physical and emotional pleasures can be doorways into the divine. Tantrikas believe that pleasure can be sacred. The taste of food, the moment of sexual touch, the transporting joy felt when hearing beautiful music, the blissful experience of losing ourselves in movement or in the sight of beauty, any of these can open us to the divine ecstasy at the heart of life. It's this aspect of Tantra that makes it such a powerful practice for contemporary Westerners looking for a path that merges spirituality with life in the visible world. In the West, Tantra is often associated with secret, and now not so secret, sexual practices, but these are a tiny part of the Tantric system. Even more radical and significant is the tantric view that bliss and presence can be discovered in upheaval, in the play of destructive forces, in sorrow and sickness, precisely because there is no place that Shakti is not. Third, the tantric view sees the universal Shakti, the divine feminine power, the goddess, as the source of power. This is a revolutionary idea, and when we get it, it changes our relationship to our own energy forever. So consider the following. True power arises from an inner feminine source, from Shakti. This is true whether the power appears in the cosmos, as in the Big Bang and the thrust of evolution, or in a human being, as our powers of thought, feeling, and action. In the West, we are used to associating power with masculinity and thinking of the feminine as purely passive, nurturing, and receptive. Tantra tells us that it's the other way around. From a tantric perspective, the inner masculine, Shiva, is the source of consciousness or awareness, but in order to act, to stir, he must take energy from the inner feminine. In ordinary life, this is exactly what many men do when they project their creative energy outward into a muse, a nurturing wife or assistant, who then pours her energy into him. In turn, the feminine is grounded and focused by the masculine quality of awareness. Awareness allows the feminine to see herself and give both containment and direction to her energy. Whether cosmically or individually, every genuinely creative project emerges out of a marriage of consciousness and power. For full creative empowerment, these masculine and feminine polarities need to come together. We need the stability of linear focus, the masculine quality, to merge with the feminine quality of energy, with its invitation to inspiration, eros, and aliveness. Though we know now that these qualities are present in both men and women, these polarities still get projected onto the opposite gender. Thus, we would have the traditional marriage, where the man was supposed to provide directionality and focus, while the woman was supposed to lend her creative energy and feeling to his projects. These gender roles prevail in many relationships, including same-sex couples, where one partner will often enact the masculine role, while the other partner plays the feminine. As we bring a truly tantric perspective into our daily life, we learn how to marry the god and goddess in every individual. In relationship, this means that when two people meet, they don't feel the need to project either their life force or Shakti or their consciousness Shiva onto the other. Instead, they can come together from a place where the masculine and the feminine awareness and energy are incarnated equally in men and in women. This allows both for deeper relationship and for greater fullness in each individual. That said, when the tantric sages talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, they refer to eternal principles that are fundamentally beyond gender, though they may be expressed through gender. The masculine, Shiva, is understood to be the transcendent quality of godness, the knowing light beyond all forms. The feminine, Shakti, is the immanent aspect of the divine. She is the power that becomes the world. Cosmically speaking, the Tantras say that without the dynamism of Shakti, the masculine Shiva is inert, yet without the awareness and stability of Shiva, Shakti is uncontrollably wild. Cosmically speaking, the Tantras say that without the dynamism of Shakti, the feminine, and the masculine Shiva is inert. Yet without the awareness and stability of Shiva, Shakti is uncontrollably wild. A dramatic image from tantric iconography conveys this essential tantric viewpoint about reality. The image shows the goddess Kali, naked but for an apron of hands and a necklace of skulls, dancing on the prone body of Shiva, her eternal consort. Shiva's corpse-like pose represents the fact that pure awareness is the static ground of being, comparable to the awareness that a meditator discovers as the unchanging witness of his own mental world. Kali's wild dance expresses the dynamism of the cosmic process, intense, endless, dramatic, arising from and supported by Shiva's ground of stillness, yet expressing itself through endless, evolving universes. In the external world, she is the force of evolution, the erotic thrust at the heart of life. She is the intrinsic creative drive that fueled the Big Bang and continues to unfold as stars, galaxies, planets, etc. Within our inner world, Shakti plays as our thoughts, emotions, ideas, inspirations, as well as our ideas about who we are. In meditation, she manifests as our visions, our feelings of bliss, our insights, the inner blocks that arise, and the spaciousness that dissolves them. In the process of transformation, she takes form as a passionate urgency that inspires us to step beyond apparent limits and expand our consciousness. Shiva remains outside and beyond all this as the unchanging knower, the witness awareness that both observes and contains the dance. At every level of consciousness, the masculine and the feminine, Shiva and Shakti, steadiness and dynamism, awareness and bliss, stability and transformation, being and becoming, complete and complement each other. Without the spacious ground that is the light of consciousness, steady and still, nothing could exist. Without the dynamic power of becoming, nothing could grow, evolve, or transform. Shiva and Shakti, becoming and being, are like two sides of a spinning coin, like water and its wetness or fire and its heat. They are beyond gender, yet when they evolve into physical form, their qualities live in us as aspects of consciousness and also as uniquely gender-related qualities of the human soul. In the Tantric universe, everything arises out of that original union, the embrace of Shiva and Shakti.